So we're back today with another video, and this one's a bit more interesting because KSI and Logan Paul have teamed up yet again after starting Prime. They have now bought Chesterfield. Of course, the team based in the Vanarama National League have now been bought by Prime, and the team have paired up now on this venture in investing in a football club. Of course, Prime sponsor Arsenal, they sponsor the UFC, but now they have their own football club thanks to KSI and Logan Paul teaming up and buying Chesterfield over in the Vanarama National League. So you might be wondering, well, what's the point in this video? We were going to simulate up to 20 years to see if the finances from Prime, KSI, Logan Paul all combined can take Chesterfield up to the Premier League and win some silverware. As you can see over in the finances there's a balance of £1 billion in the finances. Current season profit and loss £1 billion, but the season budget is set at zero for this first season because no transfers will be allowed in season number 1, but a remaining budget of £1 billion as well. There's a lot of money in this football club. So the plan is we're going to go 5 years at a time. First off, going 5 years in the future and seeing, can Prime Hydration, the KSI Logan Paul dream team, come together and take Chesterfield out of the Vanarama National League within 5 seasons? Let's jump ahead and see what happens in 5 years' time. So 5 years have passed by now, and we can see straight away next to the Chesterfield badge there, they're currently sitting in the Sky Bet League 1. So they've had some promotions in the space of that 5-year period. So we start off here, you can see now just next to me. So in the 22-23 season, they finished 6th in the Vanarama National League, and in the following season, they did get promotion by winning the league after just being at the club for 2 years. And that following season, another promotion straight away by winning the Sky Bet League 2. In their first season being in the Sky Bet League 2, they won the division. Then their most recent season, in their first one in the Sky Bet Championship, and then their most recent season, the first one in the Sky Bet League 1, they finished 12th. Not a bad first season up there in League 1. So we have a bit of a dive in now and have a look what they've been doing over the course of these last few years in terms of their transfer business. That first season, they ended up spending 575k, so not a massive investment in that first season. A lot of the money went down on Reece Devine from Swindon, 350k for the defender. And then following that, the likes of Connor McCarthy coming in here for 93k, Jake Beasley 63k, and then the rest are a bunch of free transfers from the divisions. Of course, players from Watford, Nottingham Forest as well, so not bad acquisitions really for the side. I mean, they made 66,000 as well, you can see here on sales in that first season. But that first season, they did not go up. But this is where it started to get interesting. You can see now some of the players they bought in the like of Scott Carson. Of course, he was at Man City at the start of the game. And at age 41 now in the game, he's no longer playing, but he did make the move down to Chesterfield. And you can see a handful of other ones as well. Matty Longstaff, of course, currently at Newcastle in real life. He made the switch to the Vanarama National League, so he must be making an absolute fat wedge being that low down at Chesterfield. And maybe I was wrong actually, because we're looking now, of course, this is 5 years down the line. He's currently only earning 12 grand a week. He's surplus to requirements though, that the club are already ready to get rid of him already. But on 12 grand a week, that's not bad managing to get someone down from a Premier League level. Of course, he's been at other clubs in the past. You can see there Aberdeen, Mansfield, Colchester, all on loan periods. But making the switch then from Newcastle all the way down to the Vanarama National League is quite big. But for only 12 grand, that is quite surprising. And of course, another one, Tariq Forrest is someone that we used in our Stoke rebuild the other week. He came into this save as well on a free transfer as well. And if fair, he's made 172 appearances in that 5-year period, scoring 26 goals. But again, he's down as a fringe player now. He's not one of their better players, but still on paper, not a bad player for someone like Chesterfield. So of course in that season they only spent 51k, and we said prior they had a £1 billion budget in the bank, so they're not spending massively just yet. But some good free transfers they brought in there. The likes of Bowler from Luton Town there. Dejon Sterling came from Chelsea on a free transfer as well. So some good business there. And again, they still made 97k on transfers out. So not bad really, more on the transfers out than actually transfers in that second season. But of course, they did get promoted that season up into the Sky Bet League 2. And this is where it starts to get a bit more interesting now. Sky Bet League 2, they spent 1.4 million. The big ones being 900k on Gabriel Oso. He came in, and again, he's not a bad player. He's down as a fringe player now after a few seasons now at Chesterfield. But at the time though, as a centre-back option, a very good player indeed. Of course, coming in from Ipswich there, you can see he had a few seasons at Ipswich before making the switch over to Chesterfield. But again, the likes of Andre Dozel, Kyle Edwards, all came on free transfers. Ellis Sims as well, formerly of Everton, coming on a free transfer. Junior Stanislas, you might remember him from his days at Bournemouth as well. He made the switch for just 20k as well. So some good transfer business in, and it was enough to see Chesterfield get back-to-back promotions and send them up into the Sky Bet League One. And this is when now you can see the money is starting to be spent now. 3.7 million spent in this season. Patrick Roberts coming from Plymouth for 3.1 million of that. 300k there on Deli Bashir coming in as well from Burton, and Baji coming in from Watford for 275k, along with some loan moves in there as well. And towards the end of that season, more and more was getting spent, with 21 million being spent in the Sky Bet League One in that most recent season as well. As you can see, the likes of Callum Stately coming in from Motherwell for 4.8 million, Tayo Eden coming from Preston for 4.5, 4 million on George Johnson, George Dobson for 4 million again from Charlton as well, Herbert Greiser coming in from Blackpool as well there for 2.6 million. So it's a lot of money to be spending only in the League One. But it's been interesting to see as well, they've been making a bit of profit on these players as well. I mean, they bought in Sam Greenwood back in, which season was Sam Greenwood arriving? He's been there a while, but looks like by this point as well. And then you can see here now, 600k QPR. So I mean, they're making money as well from the players they're bringing in. They are selling them. Actually, it's that same it's that same window. You can see him here. He came in that window on a free transfer, and they've ended up selling him only a few months later for QPR for 600k. So an easy profit made, and it all goes to that good business logic you've been seeing so far within Prime. Again, it's coming into this football club and they're doing the business there. So of course, in that most recent season in 2027, they finished 7th, just outside the playoffs. So you're wondering now, in another 5 years' time, just how far we can see, how much have the Prime team of KSI and Logan Paul taken this team in 5 more years. Let's dive in 5 years into the future and see what they've done. So we're back now, it's 2032, 10 years since we initially started, when the team of KSI and Logan Paul initially invested with Prime and then invested in buying Chesterfield. And we can see now what has been going on at Chesterfield after just 10 years in this save. So as we dive into the homepage at Chesterfield, first thing you're going to notice straight away is Sky Bet Championship. They got the push up to the Sky Bet Championship now. They have made the extra push out of League One and have been in the Sky Bet Championship for the last few seasons, or so it seems. But interesting thing here in the bottom right corner, you'll see as well, the balance is down to 512 million now. So they have spent almost 500 million of that 1 billion budget they started with initially. Current season profit as well, 24 million. So they're still making money with a season budget of 127 million. And nice thing I didn't mention prior as well, Mr. Beast even owns the naming rights to the stadium with the Beast Burger Stadium. I mean, they're all linking together. All the boys, they're linking together and getting involved in this investment opportunity. Bit of advertising for him as well. Why not? But of course, last time we saw Chesterfield was back in this season, the 26-27 season, where they finished 7th in the Sky Bet League One. That following season, they won the league. They came first in the Sky Bet League One and got promoted to the Championship. Then another year passed in the Championship, getting an 18th finish, narrowly avoiding the drop there. And at that point, they thought, right, we really need to invest now and try and do some business to get us promoted yet again, this time to the Premier League. So the next season ends, you can see there now, the 29-30 season, Sky Bet Championship, bang, done. They came second and got themselves promoted to the Premier League, but it didn't last for very long because they finished 18th in that first season of the Premier League, and Chesterfield go back down to the Championship. Well, you can see now their most recent season, they came 9th in the Championship, missing out on the playoffs, and where they remain now in the Sky Bet Championship. So they have been to the heights of the Premier League already in just 10 seasons, from the Vanarama National up to the Premier League, but already back down to the Championship. So it'll be interesting to see another 5 years' time, can they get themselves established within the Premier League? But for now, transfers, what have they been doing? A lot of money has been spent. We looked at a balance earlier on. Money has been spent. Has it gone in on the players? Let's find out. So just come back in now, of course, transfer business. In that 5 years, they've been spending the money. And in that first window, following the last season we saw, they spent 13.5 million. Money being spent on Steven Sessegnon coming in for 6 million from Cardiff. Ted Mengi, of course, of Manchester United in real life. He made the switch for 4.7 million from Middlesbrough. Luke Wolfton came from Huddersfield for 2.4 million. And again, a lot of good free transfers coming in to help the Chesterfield club. But it wasn't just, again, spending money. They had made sales like 1.3 million on sales. This time, the main one coming in is Joe Warmington, left for Sunderland for 1.1 million. A few loans out from the club, and then 175k there for Deli Bashu going off to Portsmouth. So this is when it starts to get really, really interesting. You can see now in the year 28-29, a total of 114 million, wow, was spent on transfers in to Chesterfield. Dennis Churchkin coming from Millwall for 27.5 million. Oh, it's so much for him. Aaron Ramsey from Sheffield United for 16 million. Flynn Downs for 11.5. Paul Van Heck coming from Swansea for 10.25 as well. A South from Millwall. Millwall, 2 players from Millwall. Millwall made 37.5 million from 2 sales, with Abdul Asai coming in for 10 million as well. And again, more going out from Hull here, Preston, West Brom, Harwood, Bellis, of course, of Man City in real life. The likes of Holzman from Reading as well. And the transfers have kept happening. A few mil on these little smaller ones here, but a monster fee of 27.5 million for Dennis Churchkin. It's absolutely insane for Chesterfield. I mean, he's on 135 grand a week. This is absolutely mental. This guy should not be on this type of money. And of course, former Aston Villa boy mentioned Aaron Ramsey joined the club as well. He went to Sheffield United within this save in 2024 before making the switch, and now on 70 grand a week at Chesterfield. I mean, he had 2 England 21 caps, but at age 29 now, he never really hit the potential of what we've seen in real life. People saying he could be the next Grealish for Aston Villa. Within the simulation, didn't seem to work for him. He's in the Championship, and he never got the England cap either. But yes, let's go ahead again now to the 29-30 season, where this time they spent a whop 118 million. Oh my days. Where's the money on this time? Alex Lancaster, he came from Crystal Palace for 23 million. Not some of her, because it's a new gen, that's why we've not heard of him, of course. But I mean, he can play right back, he can play left back completely, and it looks really insanely fair. Great physicals, really good mentals. He's not bad technically. For me personally, he wouldn't be the sort of player I'd go for. Not really good enough dribbling and crossing for those attacking areas. But again, not a bad acquisition. But I mean, he has left now. He's already at Everton. So I'd be interested to see how much they made on that transfer, considering they paid so much money for him in 23 million. Bernat Therese came from Nottingham Forest, 22 million. Tom Bloxham came from Rotherham for 16.5 million. Again, a lot of money being spent on players you wouldn't really associate with players going towards the Premier League. I mean, he's left already. He's already at Watford, so it didn't last very long, him being at the club. Charlie Cresswell came for 13.5. Boubacar Traore came from Coventry as well. And I mean, the transfers just kept coming, but looks of it, it's been a lot of money throughout the course of that season. And again, a lot of players that you wouldn't really think were the players for the next step, try and get them to the Premier League as well. So some interesting acquisitions made by the prime pairing. But again, on sales though, they're making money though from the club. They're getting, I mean, they're spending a lot more. You can see here, they're spending so much more money. But again, they're making profit from some of these players as well. Harvard Bayes went 10 million from him. They only bought him for, where was it? 5.5 million. So again, they've doubled his value and sold him on. So they're making money from the transfers, but they're spending so much on the outlay originally. They're just not doing it. And the results are showing because they're not in the Premier League just yet. And with all the money they're spending, you think they'll be in the Premier League. I mean, they're in the Premier League for this one season. You see they bought Josh Bowler for 25 million in a part exchange there. Alex Matsos came from Sheffield United. They went to Hajduk Split, went 4.8 million. And again, Hassan Balkan came from Liverpool for 26 million. This new gen, who's at Newcastle now. I'm curious, how is his career going? So he went from Liverpool to Chesterfield for 26 million. And they sold him for less money to Newcastle. They weren't even playing him. They bought him in for the Premier League season, played 15 games, went to the Championship, played 4 games, before selling him to Newcastle. It's an absolute massive waste. What are you doing? But again, you can see they're making money. I mean, they're doing a few sales as well. A lot of players leaving on free transfers though as well, interestingly enough here. A lot of players could probably make some money from. I mean, Paul Van Heg went for free to PSV. I mean, saying he's not for sale, so surely he's valued quite a lot of money. I mean, he's 32 at this point of the game, but still a very good player, but being let go for free. After it seems like no time at all, he had 33 appearances at Chesterfield from that switch to Swansea for making the switch over the PSV. I mean, I suppose European football, so it makes sense for the big switch, but the outlay they put out for him doesn't match the return. And again, we go a bit forward now. Again, we're into the 31-32 season. Brandon Soppy coming in now. You can see here from Stoke, 20 million. Gianluigi Cabuzia coming in for 17.25 million. So some better acquisitions here. Some players you would think probably should be in that bracket of like Premier League type players. Obviously, they start quite young players, but I mean, within the game now, Bucio's 30 years of age, looks incredible. He's still at Chesterfield, which is good to see as well. And Brandon Soppy, he's still at Chesterfield as well. Never made the French international setup, but again, age 30 now. These are the sort of players that probably get moved on within the next 5 years before we come back 5 years again down the line in 2037. But again, 143 million spent, a lot of money spent, but transfers out 124 this time. Interestingly, the big one being Emre Tezel. He went to Liverpool for 36.5 million. And he went to Barcelona as well, so he'd already made the switch already. So they bought him from Stoke for 40 million. And they sold him for less money again. What is wrong with this team? It's like they don't want to make a profit on anyone. I mean, okay, he played every game for like 4 seasons at Chesterfield, bagging just over 10 goals a season, which isn't bad, I suppose, but Then they made the switch to Liverpool for less money, and then he's left again now for Barcelona. It just seems absolutely insane that some of these players are just moving for absolutely ridiculous money. Alex Lancaster, 27 million, he went to Everton for in the end. We mentioned him earlier. So he came in for a fee of 23 million. So they made 5 million, and he played one full season in the Premier League of Chesterfield before getting relegated. So that's not too bad of a return. He's made some profit on that one, but 124 million made, they spent 143 million and got relegated, which led to the most recent season where no transfers have happened yet. It's July 1st. So it'll be interesting to see now what happens this season, because of course they finished 5th and they did not go up through the playoffs, if I'm correct in saying so. Okay, the playoffs have actually happened, surely. Oh, it's the end of the season. We're not even looking properly. So they didn't finish 5th, they start 5th ahead of the new season in 2032. So let's dive ahead another 5 years, 2037. Let's go. So we're back again now with Chesterfield. The year is 2037. It's 15 years now in the future, and you see they're in the Sky Bet Championship still. I wonder if they've gone back up and back down. I'm quite intrigued to see what actually happened here. I mean, finances wise, we can see now the balance is now at 440 million, even, but the current season's profit and loss, they're at a minus of 755k, season budget of 101 million, 111 million even, so there's money there. But how well has it been spent? I mean, the plus side is the facilities now have massively improved. 17 youth facilities, 17 training facilities, junior coaches 16, youth recruitment of 14, so they've massively improved. But the prime pairing of Logan Paul and KSI, have they won any silverware yet whilst they've been at the club that isn't league trophy based? But we can see here at the bottom of the screen now, of course, they won the Sky Bet League 1 back in 2028. They won the Sky Bet League 2 most recently in 25. Papa John's Trophy, they won the Papa John's Trophy since we've been in charge of them as well. 2025, under their leadership, they have won that trophy as well. But again, the rest of the trophies, 2023, so they won the Builder-based FA Trophy that season as well. So they have won a few trophies today. The majority of these trophies here at the bottom of our screen here, they have won the majority of those in their tenure in these 15 years. But again, Premier League, have they been back yet to the Premier League? So when we left them, it was 9th here in the 31-32 season. You can see they've been bouncing around, finishing 3rd, finishing 12th, 7th, 11th, and down as 13th this most recent season. They still remain in the Sky Bet Championship. And with 5 years left to go, the simulation, with Paul and KSI in charge of the club, do you think they can get up to the Premier League in that final 5 seasons? I mean, right now, it doesn't look great finishing 13th and 11th in the most recent seasons. I don't even see them switch in the playoffs right now. But we're interested to see what they've been doing in terms of players. Who's in, who's out, how is that team looking right now? So we left them before the 32-33 season started. You can see in that season they spent 99 million. The big ones being Jung Won coming from Norwich, 24 million coming in for him. He's a very good new gentleman player, realistically. I mean, concentration at 9 could be a little bit better, but otherwise, a very complete player. Of course, he has played now. He's played for the English national team, actually, on under 21 level, 13 caps so far. He's a star player, but he has moved to Sunderland in that time period. So, be interesting to see whereabouts are Sunderland now. Are they back in the Premier League, possibly? They're in the Championship as well, but they're still buying our players. It's quite interesting to see that we're actually selling players to Sunderland, because we bought him in for 24 million. And again, we sold him for less money. They keep selling these players for less money. I don't think they've realised the concept of transfer business. We bring players in, young players as well, develop them, sell them for more, not for less. So the next one is actually now at Man City. Jean-Jaro Gattivo came in. He went from Sheffield United over to Chesterfield. I think he had about a year and a half there by the looks of it. Only 44 appearances. He played from 33 to 35 season before again being sold to Sunderland and then making the switch to Manchester City. It seems to be a very much a case of, 28 million, they sold him for 12 million. Which is absolutely insane. And then they sold him for 28 million. So Sunderland have had a great deal here, really. They bought him for 12 million. They went 28 on him, where Chesterfield seem to be losing money on these transfers consistently right now, bringing players in for a big outlay and selling them on for absolutely nothing. You got another one here. Chris Morrison came for 9 million. Derek Newton. Of course, a lot of these are going to be like new gens by now. George Hall, if you know who he is, Birmingham City player in real life. He made the switch immediately. He moved to Sunderland already. He moved to Luton, even already. He was at Sunderland. He went from Birmingham City to QPR for a few seasons. 7 million to Sunderland. We paid 6.5 million, and then we did a part exchange for someone, supposedly. A part exchange, and he went to Luton. He spent the last few seasons there. He's actually doing pretty well at Luton, to be honest, as well, which isn't bad for the now 32-year-old. But again, there's a few exchanges, but they're making some profit on some players, it seems. But a lot of the players, though, it seems to be a case of they're selling them for just a little bit less than what they've paid for, so they are losing money in the long term. I mean, the next season after that spent 99 million. I mean, the big outlays for that season, 29 million on Anthony Smith coming in from Arsenal here. I'm guessing this to be another new gen player by this point. I mean, it's 2037. You can't imagine there being many real players left at this point. You can see now, 27-year-old. Again, he's not bad, but for the amount of money they paid for him, and then again, he's already gone as well. He made the switch from Arsenal for 29 million, 3 million less, sold him to Cardiff, and he's now played in the Premier League with Cardiff before they got relegated this last season as well. So a lot of players seem to be coming in and just going for less money every time. I mean, this guy now, Croatian international now, 30 years of age, Majdov, looks pretty good. Again, they bought him from Stoke this time around, had a few seasons, made the switch to Fulham. I mean, Fulham, I'm guessing they're in the Prem by this point, possibly, hopefully. You'd like to hope so. For selling key players, yeah, they are back in the Premier League just recently. They came down, they bought him up, went down, straight back up. I mean, it's just Fulham all over though, isn't it, really? Up and down, up and down. But again, though, players all being signed. A lot of players seem to be, I'm noticing a lot of players, though, within a year, they come to the club and they've gone already. Chris Morrison came for 9 million from Blackburn in 2033. And then you go over one more page, and straight away, he's gone already. The likes of George Hall just mentioned, part exchange, boom, gone. The players don't seem to be very long at the club. You know, a bit of like a short stay and straight out the door every time. But yeah, Victor Roque came in. Someone I've been looking at a lot this year. A very good wonderkid this year. At the start of your games, you haven't tried him out already, make sure you do. He already wants to leave, or he's already put his option in saying he wants to leave the club already. But I mean, again, he's got 44 goals and 109 appearances. But I mean, he's better than the Championship. He's so much better than being in the Championship. He made the switch from West Ham for 27 million. That's not bad, really. I mean, 19 goals here, 16 goals there. He's had a pretty good career at Chesterfield. But I mean, again, he's so much better than the Championship. A few more now, like Petrovic coming in, Jerez, Santos, 7 million there. 20 million on this guy from Cardiff as well. Nimil, another new gen player. I mean, good right back. He's really good right back, to be fair. Determination of 19, good work rate. He's the sort of right back you do want, to be fair. Good crossing. Dribbling's not too bad as well. I mean, at 24 as well, he's already made the switch to Derby. So again, another player they've spent a lot of money on, bringing in 20 million. They sold him for 10 million. It just seems they like to waste so much money. But we've had a bit of a look now and seeing what's been happening. Again, they're still in the Championship. Let's do the final 5 years now, and let's see, can Chesterfield become an established Premier League club with the financial backing from KSI, from Logan Paul, and from Prime Hydration? So we are back for the final year now, 20 years down the line. I mean, KSI and Logan Paul themselves must be quite old by this point as well. The year is 2042. They have owned Chesterfield now for 20 years. And the big question is, are they finally an established Premier League side? Well, the short answer is no, basically no. They remain in the Championship every season. They came 4th, 9th, 6th, and then dropped off with 7th and 10th in the most recent season. So they've been in the playoffs, but again, they're not getting through the playoffs and not making that last step up into the Premier League. They seem to be dropping off every time they get so close. They get to the playoffs and they can't make that final step, which is quite crazy, really. We'll see now quickly. We have a bit more of a skim through this last final one. Because if there's any big ones, then we'll take a big look into them. But basically, again, 39 million spent. The likes of Moya coming in for 11 million. Katie McFadden coming in for 7.75 million. And again, they seem to be spending a lot of money. 37 million this time spent in the Championship. Again, 8 million, 6 million players. But no big outlays anymore. Maybe they're realising, okay, we're spending a lot of money. Things aren't happening. I mean, again, Mickey Parron's 15 million was the most spent on this player. I think I got to that point where they started to realise. I mean, to be fair though, you can notice one thing though as well. In terms of sales, they're actually making quite a bit of revenue. Sales-wise, 52 million made this season, you can see. They made 94 million the following season. I mean, only spent 47 million. That's not bad. I mean, there must have been a big outlaw, surely. Lorenzo there for 31 million. Marquez, 22 million. Barrios went for 15 as well. Tuna went for 8 million. So, I mean, a lot of players leaving some big money in these future seasons. But not a lot really being spent by the boys now. 11.5 million spent on George from West Brom as well. But they made 29 million that window as well. So it's been interesting to see. They spent a lot of money early doors. And then in the most recent, the last 5 seasons, they're kind of thinking, okay, we've spent so much money now in this club. And we're not really making anything back. As we can see now from those finances, of course, the balance is still there at 423 million. So they're not doing bad. I mean, they've spent just over 500 million, it seems, so far. The current season profit is down at minus 1.34 million. Season's budget is 174 million. Remaining budget, 173 million. And the wage budget now, 2.63 million being spent. Actually, this is a bit more of an interesting one. Let's have a look actually now properly at the team. we get more of a deeper look now in terms of who and where the biggest outlays are currently right now in terms of wages, where all that money is being spent on the club. So it'd be interesting to see, because of course now we are 20 years in the future, and their top earner currently is someone called Niall Bell, who's about to retire. Is he a new gen as well? He's a new gen. He's about to retire at age 35, currently on 6-7 grand a week. And I mean, he's been here for probably about a season by the looks of it as well. So the boy been quite light as well, it seems, for him. Joaquim Costa, he's valued between 9 and 28 million. So he's probably one of the most valuable players at the club right now. 51 million. He's an important player, playing at midfield. And again, pretty good. Never made the Portugal first team. 50 caps on the 21 level. He's been here for quite a while. Made the switch from Fulham as well. But there's no big ones there now, it seems. A lot of the star players that had bought in sort of thing at a point where they went for a lot of money. Not seem to be out there right now. I mean, there's still been quite a lot of money in terms of a championship squad in my eyes, realistically. But again, it's been an interesting experiment to see what would happen with these guys running a football club. An interesting one as well. West Ham fans. James Tompkins is now the current manager at Chesterfield as well. He's 53 in the game. That's how far in the future we are. He can still play football in real life. At this point, he's long gone. But back to what we were saying though. It's been an interesting experiment to see what would happen if KSI Logan did own a football club. But again, probably not something that will ever happen in real life, but it's always a bit of fun with these sort of experiments to see what could happen. The money's there with these sort of clubs. Of course, they have been put as well, if you didn't notice already, they were director of football, so they weren't in charge of all the transfers. That was the main reason we did this experiment as well. They weren't just the owners. We did give them full control. I mean, we even adaptability of 20, judging ability of 18 potential. I mean, some have worked, a lot haven't, because they've been losing a lot of money as well. But it's been interesting to see what would happen in this kind of experiment. But as always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more of these types of experiments, or different people running different football clubs or different roles in football clubs, let me know in the comment section as always. But thank you for watching. We'll see you again very, very soon.